Coffee with Metal, Wani, and we were out in England at Bloodstock Open Air, and I'm here with Frost from Satyricon. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
So you guys recently just released your album, Nemesis Divina. It's a beautiful atmospheric album. How would you say fans are responding to the remastered version?
Well, I've heard quite a few comments from journalists by now, and also some from colleagues and friends, and they seem to agree that the album sounds very much like the original, only slightly better. Like that there's more of what there was of character and presence in the original, in the new one. Like, you know, it almost like turbocharged version of the original album. It's pretty much what we wanted to achieve with the remastered version, as we are now celebrating the album itself, the music on that album, and what it did for us, what it represents for us, and what it represents for our fans. We didn't really want to tamper too much with it, but since we were re-releasing the album and putting it back into focus, we felt that perhaps there were a few moves that we could make to make it shine just a little more, while keeping the original feel and the original character. So basically everybody tells us that they perceive it that way, and that makes us happy because we see it that way ourselves. So.
Yeah, it was very beautiful.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. So your self-titled album, Satyricon, feels like it kind of summarized your career. It felt like something kind of inspired you guys to come up with the overall sound. Is that something you agree with?
Yeah, pretty much so. It's like a journey through everything that constitutes this band. And I guess that one of the main reasons that it felt very right to name the album after the band was that we found something that we perceived as a missing element, which was dynamics. And with the process of writing and rehearsing the album, we managed to kind of bring dynamics into Satyricon, and it kind of opened many worlds, and also it felt like it was a missing piece in the puzzle. And as it felt like Satyricon was becoming very complete during that process, then I guess the idea occurred that now this really feels like, you know, a fine Satyricon totality. When you listen to the album, you're basically taking a musical journey through everything that Satyricon represents musically and spirit-wise. So it was more like a feeling that it had to be that way, more than, you know, deliberately trying to come up with a statement or to tell anything. We felt that this was a Satyricon album, and hence it became so.
So at the same time, you guys were actually simultaneously working on 2 records, a covers album and a new studio record. When will we see this release date for this record?
We have now decided to enter the studio in January to record our own studio album. The original plan was to record a cover album first, but as we started up that process, we got very inspired to write our own material, and of course that is more important for a band like us. So you know, when that ball had started to roll, it was the only right thing to do, to, you know, just continue letting the ball roll and finish work with the album, and then return to the cover album project. And anything else would have been, you know, the wrong idea for this band. And it's hard to tell exactly when we're gonna release the cover album, but both recording and release of a new studio album will happen next year.
So your sound has evolved and changed. Obviously you guys are very occult and have that atmospheric tone to you. What would you say keeps inspiring you?
I think more than anything else, it's that true passion that we have for music in general and black metal in particular that kind of gives the band creative and inspired foundations. And with such a fundament, evolution will be perhaps the one constant factor in the band. You will always observe, learn, improve, and have, you know, a constant dynamic process going on. Creativity, basically.
Just a
and as long as that is there, I think that you can go on for a long time and always experience that you can get better at things and that you can take things further and explore new musical territory. And I really don't see that, you know, the passion will get lost anyway soon, because this is really something that we have in our hearts. And Satyricon is a fine channel for us to express ourselves musically and to create something unique that couldn't have been done by any other band. And when we're working on such a creative and inspired album as we do currently, I can hardly see that there's an end to this very soon. We have a long way to go still, and lots of things to discover, many things that we can do better, and I think that we will never lose touch with our roots either.
So you have been around since the 90s. We've seen since then a lot of black metal bands emerge in the scene. How much would you say there's a difference today than when you first started?
It's very hard to answer questions like that, because I see that black metal is a living organism, just like Satyricon as a band is also a living organism. And, you know, it will have a starting point where everything is rather small and confined and concentrated in a way where it's perhaps more about kind of spirit and a potential than anything else, and it will grow from there and evolve from there, and it's something that is really beyond control, and it's meaningless to have many opinions about it, because it's bound to happen. We have decided that Satyricon is our channel of expressing ourselves and our way of making music the way we want it to be, and to a certain extent it's also a response to what is going on. What others are doing will have to be up to them. I mean, we have always had this rather elitistic stance. We had that in the beginning, we still have it. It comes from that we don't really listen to everything, and we don't care about everything that is going on. We are always quite particular about, you know, what we choose to pay interest to, and what falls out of our scope of attention doesn't really matter. So I concentrate on that core of this musical genre that I liked in the beginning and which I still like today, and it has to do with the energy and the spirit and the vibe, and also that innovation part and the creativity of it. Black metal is a very open genre. There's a huge potential and many possibilities. It's not really defined technically like many other musical genres, so it is much more open. But most of what is going on in this genre I don't understand or I don't like it, but the core is still there, and the principles can't really die. So I feel that I have my heart in this genre as much now as I did in the early 90s.
Well, thank you for your time today. Very